Halo Campaign Evolved is the main talk in the Halo scene, and it is really annoying. There are two types of Halo fans. The Halo fans that saw Campaign Evolved and went, whoa, worms come out of the hunters when you shoot their dead bodies. That's cool as hell. And then there are the much louder, much more annoying Halo fans that went, oh my god, they're killing Halo again, it's done, it's over for the 20 millionth time, screw them. Now usually I would say these people are just rage baiting, but no, this is just how the Halo scene is, and it gets very tiring. I get that Halo has not really been in a good place for a while now, but at least hold on to your knee-jerk reactions instead of going to Twitter and immediately ranting, or going to YouTube and making a full-on rant video about how it is destroyed again. I don't know what it is about Halo, but even rational people just turn into this with Halo. Like, Noodle makes good videos. I'm not trying to start drama between me and Noodle or something like that. Like, they're fine. But good God, this video is so dumb. The whole video is basically saying, the art style is ruined, the game is ruined now because it doesn't follow the original art style that the original Xbox was limited to. Yeah, no shit, it's coming out in 2025 and not on the original Xbox. Who the fuck cares? This video almost didn't touch on gameplay features in any way whatsoever, which is kind of important to how the game plays and feels. That's sort of more important in my opinion. Halo Campaign Evolved could end up being terrible, but this reaction is just so irritating. At least wait and see. This is not to say I think Campaign Evolved looks absolutely perfect right now, they're still changing things, but you get my point. I myself am pretty excited for Campaign Evolved because I played CE a million times, and that's what I would tell people. If Campaign Evolved's changes annoy you, just go play the original. You can play it on like everything now. No, I don't care if the teleporter has a slightly different green in the MCC version, just go play the damn game. I myself am totally open to classics that we played for 20 or so odd years, having some changes, and learning about what changes we should need based on hindsight of this game. And we've been seeing these kind of reimagining remasters more lately. Another example is the Silent Hill 2 remake, which did so well, it greenlit them to start working on the Silent Hill 1 remake, which I am so excited for, because as much as I liked Silent Hill 1, boy, I don't enjoy tank controls. And over on the FPS side, we've already had a project that's very successful do this sort of reimagining. That's Black Mesa. In fact, Black Mesa was received so well that certain people think it's the definitive way to play Half-Life 1. I don't agree. Personally, I think you should play both. I don't think Black Mesa replaces Half-Life 1, but I do really enjoy Black Mesa's existence. Because for the younger generation that never got a chance to play Half-Life 1, I find they have a much easier time picking up Black Mesa. Engines with a more Quake feel like the original Half-Life, I find younger generations seem to struggle with more, and Black Mesa is an easier onboard point. Once you've captured their attention, have them go play Blue Shift and Opposing Force and go to the original Half-Life 1 with that, and they'll be more into it. Anyway, this video is about games that I think should get this reimagining sort of remaster treatment. And let's stick right with Black Mesa because we've not gotten Blue Shift or Opposing Force yet. While that's not entirely true, there is a team working on the remake of Half-Life Blue Shift. They already have 5 chapters done, and there's only 8 in total in Blue Shift, with the 8th chapter just being a cutscene at the end of the game. So they really only have 2 chapters to work on. You right now can go download the 5 chapters they have complete on the Steam Workshop. Honestly, they could have worked with Crowbar Collective and released this as like a $5 or $10 DLC, and I would have been more than happy supporting them. Super high quality project, and it leaves me very excited to play it when it's complete. Opposing Force unfortunately hasn't been so lucky. There's been numerous teams working on a Black Mesa Opposing Force style remake, but they've all been trapped in development hell, usually with the standard mod team drama of the mod leader being a pile of garbage apparently, and then restarting it with another team, and I don't think any of the current projects are ever going to be completed. Whereas the Blue Shift project, I 100% expect that to be done sooner than later, one of the rare cases where I actually have faith in the mod team, because they've been showing consistent work and consistent progress and consistent releases. Opposing Force though, I don't know. I really want to see it. It's so unfortunate because that is my favorite Half-Life game of all time, but man, I just want a remake. Just like how I can offer you something that your friends probably want for the holidays. Clothes. Okay, probably not, but you know you're getting old when you don't mind getting clothes for the holidays. Speaking of, Christmas is next month. Don't mind me, just giving you some anxiety about needing to get some Christmas presents. Seriously though, it is better to get your presents now rather than waiting till a couple of weeks before the holidays. That's where today's sponsor comes in, Into the AM. Like the shirt I am wearing right now. I have given these shirts to numerous friends as holiday gifts, and they genuinely do wear them. They do like these shirts, even if they might not have ended up liking the designs, because, you know, art is subjective. Some people will like some things more than others. This shirt, for example, I mean, not exactly my design, it's moon wolf thing, but I wear it at least once a week because it's just that comfortable. It doesn't really matter if people see the designs if all I'm using it for is to sit here editing videos, lay in bed playing Pokemon, wear this while I'm in VR. These shirts are the softest, best fitting clothes I have. I like them a lot. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say my closet is just full of these shirts. That's not me organizing them, that's just me spacing them out so you can actually see them. That's what's in my closet. Also, they make more than just shirts. You can get jackets, you can get pants, you can get underwear if you want to. They got everything on their site. They're currently running their Black Friday sale until November 30th, up to 60% off. And if you use my code intotheam.com/dragonshirts, you can get 10% off. I say this every sponsor, but Into the Am is a genuine company. I do really enjoy working with them because they talk to me as a person rather than there being a middleman marketing agency I need to talk to. They do what they think is best for my channel, and in return, they get a good deal, they get some sales, you guys get stuff that you like. So yeah, everyone's happy. Would highly recommend. All right, let's go back to talking about video games I want to relive. I'm not going to lie, I came up with this video idea because of this game in particular. Far Cry 2. I love Far Cry 2. I love the energy it brings. Far Cry 2 has the strongest atmosphere out of any of the Far Cry games by far. It also takes itself way more seriously than the other ones. Far Cry 2 wanted to be closer to a simulation than an arcade shooter. You are stuck in an African civil war. You are not the protagonist here. This place does not care about you. And that's the whole point of the game. You could die and this would continue on. And it really does feel like the world continues on whether you're there or not. With that said, this was Ubisoft's first attempt at their take on Far Cry, so it's very experimental. Ubisoft had not gotten to the blueprint that is Far Cry 3 yet. So we have a lot of hindsight about what works in Far Cry 2 and what doesn't. But the main reason I'd want sort of a reimagining of Far Cry 2 is to add in the features we got in the later Far Cry games while keeping the main gameplay of the first Far Cry 2. I still want the weapon jamming system that Far Cry 2 had. I still want the game to be ruthless. But at the same time, I want things like wildlife to actually exist in the game. I want the outposts to be reworked so they're not just constantly respawning. I'm not annoyed by this anywhere near as much as other people are, but it would be a nice change. Perhaps add a bus stop system at these outposts that you've liberated to make traveling less annoying to people. I mean, imagine you're stealthing up to an outpost, you go to shoot at someone, your gun jams, and then you get jumped by a lion. Ubisoft has been in a terrible place for a while now. A Far Cry 2 remake would print them money. That is the exact game we want from Ubisoft. This releasing is just like a dream for me. I still think Far Cry 2 has the best location out of any of the Far Cry games. Like, I love this game. But there's just so much we could do with hindsight. Dino D-Day. Man, I miss this game. If you've never heard of this game before, this was a multiplayer game that was built on the basis of Team Fortress 2, but doesn't really play anything like Team Fortress 2. This game was set in World War II. The Germans had dinosaurs. That's the premise of the game. It's so ridiculous and I love it. You could play as a T-Rex with MG42s on your face. That said, Dino D-Day came out in 2011 and has been dead for quite a while now. This is one of my favorite multiplayer games of all time, and man, I miss it. I would love to get sort of a reimagining of Dino D-Day. The mechanics feel a little outdated and some of the balancing is kind of wild. The class of the Garand is crazy overpowered. The Piot is a little too easy to use. Throwing goats at people with the Dilo is doable, but rarely ever the optimal thing to do. A bunch of changes like this out of hindsight would make this a fantastic multiplayer game. Although, to be honest, I think I would prefer a sequel that is like Dino Vietnam or something. Imagine having raptors in guerrilla warfare. That would be perfect. Legendary. This is a game that really fits this game's topic. I love the premise of Legendary. It's such a cool game. Legendary is a first-person shooter where you accidentally open Pandora's box. As a result, you're fighting mythical creatures the entire game. Werewolves, pixies, griffins, everything. This game got way more hate than it deserves in my opinion. I genuinely think this is a good game, a good solid 7 out of 10 game, but people hated it. A reimagining could definitely reinvigorate what this game was supposed to be and bring up the whole concept behind the game. Because the concept is awesome. I've never heard anyone say the concept is anything other than one of the coolest things they've ever seen in the game. Gun. Remember Gun? Gun is one of those games that is largely forgotten until you mention it, and then people were like, oh shit, I haven't thought of that in 20 years. Gun was a game that took place in the Wild West. It released around the launch of the 360. As a result, the PC port is absolutely abysmal. It's stuck at 30 FPS, it has wild physics problems, you have to deal with weird resolutions, the game was just not really good on PC. Now, you could argue that this would be better suited for a Nightdive style remaster, but I feel like you could reimagine a lot of things in here. At this time, games were very experimental. We were still learning what really made a game a good game. Now, one thing I don't want them to do is just turn it into Red Dead Redemption 2 because Gun did feel unique. But imagine Gun with a world that's as interactive as Red Dead Redemption 2 and that would be awesome. Darkest of Days. This is just like Legendary where the concept is so awesome, but the execution left a bit to be desired. It was good enough to make it not bad, but a lot more could have been done. This was an indie game and it did feel a bit jank. The concept of Darkest of Days is you're a time traveler, going way back in time with future technology. Hell, one of the missions has you going back to Pompeii during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius with futuristic weapons just mowing everyone down. Is this not the coolest concept for a game you've ever seen? Needless to say, with a bigger budget, more modern engines, and hindsight of the original Darkest of Days, a Darkest of Days reimagined could be one of the best shooters ever made. Just on concept alone. Even if it just executes a little bit on what it should be, it would be amazing. You Are Empty. This is one of those games people look at and go, hey, that's that game that Civvy covered. Hey, I covered it first, just saying. No shade, love you Civvy, we all watch each other. Anyway, this game is just weird. It's a Slavjank game, but the world itself is so bizarre with so many interesting designs. I love what it is. But again, long story short, modernizing this game with newer engines, better lighting, and by better lighting I mean any lighting at all, better feeling guns, and a story that makes a little bit more sense, and yeah, you could really have a fantastic game. You Are Empty is a bit bizarre because I feel that this game is accepted way better today than on launch. Hell, people didn't even know it existed on launch. Resistance 1 and 2. I have a love-hate relationship with the Resistance franchise. People love Resistance 1 and I've always found that to be a bit weird. I'm convinced that Resistance 1 got higher reviews than it should have by being a PS3 launch title at a time where PS3 had no game. There are so many issues with the first game that could easily be resolved and turn it into a fantastic Insomniac experience. A reimagining is exactly what that game needs. For starters, I don't want them to change the aesthetics, but seeing a little bit more than brown and gray would be nice. You could still make it look depressing without literally only 2 colors. But the main thing I would like to see change with Resistance 1 is the difficulty. Now, I actually do like difficult games when they're done right. I mean, Doom Eternal and Ultra Kill are some of my favorite games of all time. But I never get frustrated when I die in those games. Because when I die in those games, I'm still thinking, my mind is working, I know what I did wrong, I know what I could do more, I know what I can do to make myself better at the game. Resistance 1 puts you in so many unfair situations that feel like you can't avoid damage, and every enemy in the game has so much health where you have almost none. It's a game where you have to walk down a hallway, there's clown closets at the end with enemies continuously pouring out that are all bullet sponges, and you have to somehow bang your head against the wall till you get through. As a result, I don't think Resistance 1 aged very well, and I find it to be more frustrating and tedious than it is fun. In fact, I hated Resistance 1, which is unfortunate because it only requires a few changes to make it a truly good game. Resistance 2 did not make those changes. They went the wrong way. This game, out of all Resistance games, could benefit from these changes the most. For starters, get rid of the 2-weapon limit. This is the stupidest change. This is a classic first-person shooter experience. There is no reason to limit you to only 2 weapons. Secondly, I don't think regenerating health really fits Resistance. This was them trying to chase the trends of FPS games at the time, and it did not work. The third thing, redo so many of these bosses. So many of these bosses just straight up kill you in the most bullshit of ways. They were not fun, the game wasn't fun, it was truly awful even compared to the first game. Thankfully, they learned with Resistance 3 and nothing needs to be changed with that game. Even though Resistance 3 basically was Half-Life 2 again, there are far worse games to be heavily inspired by. I think taking the Resistance 3 Half-Life 2 inspiration route with Resistance 1 and 2 would really make this franchise perfect. Especially because Sony's not been doing first-person shooters very well. Frankly, they never really have. They've always kind of struggled getting their own. Resistance and Killzone did well, but I don't think they're as good as what Sony really wanted. And nowadays, they basically just have given up. So giving us a reimagining of Resistance would be perfect for them. Alright, now I got a ton of games that I don't think should be reimagined, but would do really well to get a Nightdive style remaster. That is to say, entirely the same game, but now working on modern hardware and maybe graphic updates. The first one is F.E.A.R. The art style, the gameplay, the story, this is a perfect game. I love F.E.A.R. But it could be updated for modern machines. This game came out 20 years ago, so it's no surprise that some things don't really work well on modern machines. For example, the HUD doesn't really scale to your resolution, and there's an FPS issue with modern USB devices, so you have to use a DLL file to fix that. And in general, there are mods to fix these problems that are easy to install, but it would be nice to have them work out of the box. Especially in the case of Extraction Point, which didn't get the updates that the base game did. You will very frequently get the disconnected from server error, which is weird because there is no server. The servers have been taken down forever. And even back then, you weren't required to be connected to a server to play single player. It was offline single player. So this is a misleading error and it confuses people and they don't know how to fix it. Giving us a Nightdive remaster would just be awesome. I would even be okay with completely updating the graphics just as long as you keep the aesthetic and keep the really harsh shadows that came with the lighting of the first game. I don't think F.E.A.R. necessarily needs a graphical update because for a game that came out in 2005, it still looks really good. But if someone did it faithfully, I'd be fine with it. Black Ops 1, 2, and Quantum of Solace. Now, I'm stating these three games purely for the multiplayer and purely because modern Call of Duty fucking blows ass. I have zero interest in what Call of Duty has turned into today. It's nothing like what we had with old Call of Duty. This is why I'm saying a Nightdive style remaster would be the perfect way to bring Black Ops 1 and 2 back. And I threw Quantum of Solace in here because this is like a lost Call of Duty game, and that one is basically dead. You're not being able to play that online now. I would love to get a re-release of Black Ops 1 and 2 so that the multiplayer would be populated in a more easy to access way instead of needing to use plutonium, especially now that Ironsight has played its course and shut down. Ironsight was a free-to-play game that was a Black Ops 2 clone that in many ways was better than Black Ops 2. It was awesome, but you can't play it anymore. The reason I say I don't want a reimagining of Black Ops 1 and 2 is because they would immediately turn it into what modern Call of Duty is. They would add slide canceling in, they would add omnidirectional movement in, they would add in all these microtransactions. Like, no, I don't want modern Call of Duty. This shit fucking sucks. Killing Floor 1! Killing Floor 1 is perfect. Nothing here needs to be reimagined. However, it started as an Unreal Tournament 2004 mod, so it's pretty outdated. If you lifted the graphics with modern engines but kept the gameplay and the art style entirely the same, I would love you forever. I didn't really like Killing Floor 2 and 3, I just like how they turned it way more arcadey and kind of veered away from the survival horror aspect of the first game. The first game was a lot more punishing. You couldn't sprint and you didn't feel like a super soldier that could solo all of the enemies every round. You needed your teammates. The game was slower and much more horror focused, and I would love that to stay the same. Prey 2006. I would just like a Nightdive remaster and make it so that people can actually buy this game and just play it on Steam. Nothing more really needs to be said. Prey 2006 was a fantastic first-person shooter that is getting lost to time because of the way Bethesda fucked them over. We're never getting Prey 2, and Prey 2017 has nothing to do with Prey 2006. Why did you name it Prey? Not even the same genre. Yes, I'm still bitter. Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2. These games looked outdated as hell graphically, even on launch. But I don't even care how janky they are, they were some of my favorite games of all time. Getting a Nightdive remaster would be awesome because now we can actually play online. Losing co-op online terror stunt is one of the saddest things to ever happen. The servers went down a while ago and we've just lost another one of the best co-op games ever made. Republic Commando, again another perfect game, nothing really needs to be changed here, just re-released for modern systems. Also give us a sequel, please. The Darkness 1, oh so much could actually be said here. The Darkness 1's atmosphere, its art style, the story, it's 10 out of 10. Flawless. If you have not played The Darkness 1, you should play it. But that's where the problem comes in. It is wild that The Darkness 1 never got released on PC. And the only way to play it on PlayStation is the PS3 port, which was not good. That pretty much only leaves the Xbox version, which is definitely not bad, because it got the backwards compatibility treatment. You can run it on modern Xboxes at a higher resolution at a smoother frame rate. But again, that's pretty much the only modern way to play it. PC players are completely out of luck, and those on PlayStation have to deal with a really bad PS3 port. Nightdive themselves have even said they would like to do a remaster of The Darkness 1. Please give us that. The only thing you would need to change is the wonky aiming, and that's it. Speaking of wonky aiming, Time Splitters 2. Yeah, just re-releasing this game, but without the absolutely atrocious aim. All you need to do. Love this game. I miss Time Splitters so much. I'm still so sad we're never getting another one. And this last one isn't a shooter, but it's an honorable mention that I just wanted to briefly talk about, and that is the Legend of Spyro trilogy. This was a trilogy that spanned the launch of the 360 generation, so this puts it in an awkward spot. The first game is backwards compatible on Xbox, so you can still play it fairly easily. The second game never did come out on Xbox, so you pretty much have to emulate it using Dolphin. And the third game was released on Wii and PlayStation 2, and that generation plus the 360, making the 360 version by far the best one and the only way to play it. It's a really awkward trilogy to play nowadays. You have to get numerous things of hardware, maybe emulate some things. It would just be nice if all of this just got re-released on modern hardware. Especially for Dawn of the Dragon, that game is incredibly underrated. It's really good. You play the first two so you can play the third one. This is not a comprehensive list of games I could talk about. I have a lot of other games actually put down in the list of things I wanted to talk about, and then I looked at it and went, this video is going to be an hour long. So if you enjoyed this video, share it around, have people watch it. If it gets enough views, I will make a part 2. As for now, I want to give a huge thanks to Into the AM for sponsoring this video. Again, up to 60% off until November 30th. They only do this one time a year. This is just for the holidays. So jump on that if that's what you want, intotheam.com/dragonshirts. You can also get 10% off with my link. Huge thanks to my YouTube members. They get to see my videos early and they support my channel, which is awesome because YouTube is so unreliable. You never know what changes they're gonna do. So if you want to get early viewing, I keep it cheap. And you'll get the knowledge that this channel exists because you were supporting me. I say this a lot, but even if you don't do this, watching my channel helps a lot. Again, it pays my rent. This is how I live my life, and I could not do it without you guys watching. So here's a playlist of stuff, of videos just like this one. Here is a recommended video that you may enjoy. You can subscribe right here. Or if you follow me on Twitch, then you can hang out with me over there. I stream fairly often. That's what this is right here. Go follow over there. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.